Gardening advice is everywhere. Books, videos, social media, friends, neighbors, experts. Everyone seems to have a rule. Water this way, plant that here, never do this, always do that, and most of it sounds reasonable. In fact, some gardening advice sounds so convincing that people follow it for years without questioning it. But here's the problem. Advice can sound right and still fail. Not because people are lying, not because gardeners are stupid, but because gardening is full of context. And once context disappears, good advice often becomes bad advice. The first piece of advice almost everyone hears is water every day. Sounds sensible. Plants need water. More watering should mean healthier growth. Right? Not necessarily, because plants don't need a schedule, they need conditions. Some soils stay moist for days, others dry out within hours. Weather changes constantly. Temperatures change, humidity changes, rainfall changes. Watering every day might be perfect somewhere and disastrous somewhere else. In many gardens, daily watering creates shallow roots. Roots stay near the surface, plants become dependent, and the moment conditions change, they struggle. The advice sounds correct, but without context, it often creates the very problem people are trying to avoid. Another common piece of advice: add more fertilizer. Plants growing slowly. Add fertilizer, leaves look pale. Add fertilizer. Harvest disappointing. Add fertilizer. But what if nutrients aren't the problem? What if the issue is compacted soil, poor drainage, weak root systems, inactive soil biology? Adding fertilizer to solve every problem is like adding fuel to a car with a broken engine. The fuel isn't the issue, and unless the real problem gets fixed, results rarely improve. Now here's one that surprises people. Pull every weed immediately. Sounds logical. After all, weeds compete with plants, but reality is more complicated. Some weeds absolutely need removing, especially invasive species, but some weeds also protect exposed soil, reduce erosion, support pollinators, improve soil structure. The problem isn't weeds. The problem is understanding which weeds create pressure, and which ones provide benefits. Gardening advice often treats everything the same. Nature rarely does. Another popular rule: plant in full sun. This one causes frustration constantly, because full sun means different things in different places. Full sun in Northern Europe is not the same as full sun in Arizona, or Australia, or southern Spain. 6 hours of sunlight might be ideal somewhere, and excessive somewhere else. Many gardeners lose plants because they follow the label, without considering local conditions. The advice sounds correct, but local reality changes everything. Now, let's talk about organic matter, because people constantly hear this advice: add compost, add compost, add compost, and honestly, it's often good advice, but even good advice has limits. Too much organic material can create problems too, especially in poorly draining soils or environments already holding excessive moisture. Balance matters, not extremes, and that's what generic advice often misses. Another piece of advice that sounds perfect: never let soil dry out. Again, seems reasonable, but some plants actually prefer drying slightly between waterings. Mediterranean herbs, many drought-adapted species, various ornamentals. Constant moisture can weaken roots, increase disease pressure, and reduce resilience. The gardener follows the advice exactly, yet the plant performs worse, not because the advice was completely wrong, because it wasn't appropriate for that situation. Here's another one: start seeds indoors as early as possible. People love this advice. Earlier starts, bigger plants, earlier harvests. Makes sense, until seedlings become root-bound, leggy, stressed, and poorly adapted to outdoor conditions. Sometimes plants started later actually outperform early seedlings completely, because timing isn't everything. Plant quality matters too. Now let's talk about one of the biggest myths in gardening: more effort equals better results. This sounds true, but often isn't. Some of the most struggling gardens receive the most attention: constant pruning, constant feeding, constant watering, constant intervention. The gardener is always doing something. Yet, results remain disappointing. Why? Because healthy systems require stability, not constant disturbance. Sometimes improvement comes from doing less, observing more, allowing natural processes to function. This feels uncomfortable, but it's often true. Another popular piece of advice: fix problems immediately. A leaf turns yellow. React. An insect appears. React. Growth slows. React. But immediate action isn't always the smartest action. Sometimes, observation matters first. What caused the issue? Is it spreading? Is it temporary? Will it resolve naturally? Many gardeners create bigger problems by reacting too quickly to smaller ones. And the internet encourages this constantly. Every issue becomes an emergency. Every symptom requires immediate intervention. Nature rarely works that way. Now here's one almost nobody questions. Bigger plants need bigger containers. Usually true, but not always. Some gardeners move plants into oversized containers too early. The result? Excess moisture, slow root development, poor establishment, and weaker growth. The advice sounds logical, but timing matters. Growth stage matters, root development matters. Again, context changes everything. Another common recommendation: use the same method every year. People find something that works once, then repeat it forever. Same schedule, same crops, same strategy. But gardens change. Weather changes, soil changes, pest pressure changes. Conditions evolve constantly, and successful gardeners adapt with them. The method that worked 3 years ago may not be the best method today. Another piece of advice that causes endless confusion: plant companions always help each other. Companion planting can be incredibly useful, but it's not magic. Some combinations work brilliantly, others show minimal impact, and environmental conditions influence results heavily. Many gardeners expect companion planting to solve every issue, then become disappointed when reality proves more complex. The principle is valuable, but expectations matter. Now here's one that sounds sensible: keep everything tidy. Clean beds, bare soil, no fallen leaves, no natural debris. Perfect organization looks impressive, but ecosystems rely on complexity. Beneficial insects need habitat. Organic matter improves soil. Ground cover protects moisture. Nature often uses layers, not emptiness. Some of the healthiest gardens in the world would look slightly untidy to people expecting perfection, and that's because biological health matters more than appearance. Another mistake hidden inside gardening advice is believing every garden should produce identical results. People compare constantly. One gardener grows giant tomatoes, another produces enormous pumpkins, someone else has perfect flowers, and suddenly, everyone starts copying methods. But different environments produce different outcomes. What works brilliantly somewhere else may never work exactly the same for you, and that's okay. Gardening isn't about copying perfectly, it's about understanding conditions. Now here's the biggest lesson of all: most gardening advice is not completely wrong. That's what makes it dangerous. There's usually some truth inside it, but truth without context becomes misleading because gardens are living systems, not formulas, not machines, not checklists. Living systems, and living systems respond to conditions, relationships, timing, environment, observation. That's why experienced gardeners often seem flexible. They understand principles, not rigid rules. They adjust, adapt, observe, and respond accordingly. Instead of blindly following advice, the best gardeners don't ask, "What is the correct rule?" They ask, "What is happening here?" That question changes everything, because once you understand what's actually happening, the right decision becomes much easier. Gardening advice sounds powerful, but observation is even more powerful, because no book, no video, no expert knows your exact garden better than you do. And once you realize that, you stop chasing rules and start understanding systems. That's when gardening becomes far easier and far more successful.